Space. Pressed. Stop recording.
Hello there, folks. This is Joseph. This time, I'm going to do a demonstration of a game that's officially out in the App Store right now. First of all, have you ever wanted to play Jeopardy on your iOS device? Well, if you have and you didn't know how, now the equivalent has come. I now bring you Blindfold Trivia Match by Marty Schultz. And what this game is basically an equivalent of the Jeopardy game show. You might hear corresponding music in the background as it's being played. Basically, what you do is it speaks out a question, and then it gives you a series of answers to pick from. And if you pick the wrong answer, you don't win anything and you don't advance. However, if you have won something and you pick the wrong answer, you will lose the amount of the question, and you could go in the negatives. Well, for this demonstration, I'm going to have it play the help file of this user guide for this app. Then in the second phase, we'll be going through the main menu and discussing everything as I come across it. And the final phase, I'll be doing a couple questions under the practice one player part so that you get an idea of how it basically works. There's a two-player mode where you and against computer can go at it, and whoever gets to the target amount of winnings first wins. But yeah, that you can explore on your own because the app is officially out in the App Store already. So before I do this Blindfold Trivia Match demonstration, I'm using an iPod Touch 5th generation, and I'm using iOS 9.3.5. And so now I'm going to plug this patch cable I've got into my laptop computer so that you can hear the sounds being piped through in stereo. And so I shall plug it in and we shall commence. Alright, plugged in. Now the next voice you hear will be the iPod voiceover reading the user's guide for Blindfold Trivia Match.
User guide. Heading. Done. Button. To exit from this screen, tap in the upper right corner. Overview. Blindfold Trivia Match is a fully accessible trivia game inspired by the TV game show Jeopardy! You control this game using iPhone gestures. The objective of the game is to win more money than your opponents. The game board is laid out as 6 columns of categories, with each column containing 5 clues. You first pick the clue you want, and then select your answer. If your answer is correct, you win the amount of money for that clue. If your answer is wrong, you lose that amount of money. The first row of clues are the easiest, and are worth $10. The second is $20, third is $30, fourth is $40, and the fifth, which are the most difficult, is $50. Once you pick a clue, you must select the correct answer out of 10 possible answers. If you are correct, you win the value of the clue, and go again. If you are wrong, you lose the value of the clue, and your opponent goes. The round is over when all of the clues have been selected. If you answer every question on the board, and your opponent doesn't answer any, you would win $900. Playing each round to pick the clue you want. Swipe left, right, up or down, then tap twice. When you move left and right, you are told the category, and the value of the clue. When you move up and down, you are told the value of the clue. After you tap twice, you hear the clue, and then you can hear each of the answers by swiping up and down. When you hear the answer that's correct, tap twice. To hear the clue again, swipe down with 2 fingers. Winning the game is over after round ends, and you or your opponent has more winnings than the target, which is $2,500 by default. You can change that in the settings screen. Squares and prizes. Some of the squares on the game board are free squares, meaning you'll get the cash value of the square without having to select an answer. One or more of the squares on the game board are super squares. If you are the first person to pick a super square, you are told its prize value from $100 to $250. When you select the correct answer, you win that much money. If you are wrong, you lose the normal amount of money for that square. If you pick that square after the first person got that square wrong, and you select the correct answer, you win the normal amount of money for that square. Playing for free, this game comes with 10 coins, so you can play 10 rounds of Trivia Match. When you run out of coins, you don't buy more coins. Instead, you purchase one or more of the trivia packs. For more info, consult the Common Features Guide. Bad questions. If you think a question and answer is wrong, or unfair, or requires you to see the screen, shake the phone. That question will be submitted automatically to Blindfold Games and we will review it, and possibly remove it from a future version. It does not change the current game. When you shake the phone, the game will confirm your action. Your opponents, you can select or change the name and skill of your opponent. You should pick a specific player for the game, so that you have the same player on each round. Settings. The settings screen has several sections. For more info, consult the Common Features Guide.
Okay, so I'm going to hit the done button in the upper right hand corner
Done.
now.
Button. Help and user guides. User guide.
And now in the help menu, we have the user guide, which you'll find when you open up the
Strategy.
app. You'll see a strategy guide. I'm not sure why that would be there.
Common features for Blindfold Games.
Common features for Blindfold Games, that you can explore that on your own.
Frequently asked questions.
In the FAQ, you can
What is the
explore
Blindfold
that.
Games app? What is the Blindfold
What is
Games
the
app?
Blindfold Games
Free-
app? You can explore
Done.
that too.
But help and user
So now
guides.
I'm going to hit the done button here
Done.
to get out of
Button.
this.
Done.
Now we're at the main menu. So we go from left to
Resume.
right.
Button.
We see a resume button. That is if you started a game and then you close the app and you want to resume it later. Self-explanatory. I'm doing a one-finger swipe right at this point, and we
Selected.
have
Practice game 1 player.
practice game 1 player. That I'll be doing for you. I'll be doing a couple questions out of that from that round, so you can basically hear how it's done. Also, we have
2-player game.
2-player game where it's basically you against a bot.
Current game scores. Button.
Current game scores. You can press that and hear your current game scores, how you've been doing so
Reset
far.
game scores. Button.
Reset game scores. Self-explanatory, which will obviously reset your game scores for those of you who
Help.
don't know.
Button.
The help button, you can actually access the user's guide, which you heard above.
Settings. Button.
The settings, you can actually customize. There's where you can actually modify the game's
By game or
settings.
upgrades. Button.
Buy game or upgrades, where you can actually go in there and purchase more trivia packs should you need.
By game or upgrades. Help. Current game scores.
Now I'm
Button.
going to swipe backward till I hear practice. Practice
2-player
one
game.
player.
Selected. Practice game 1 player.
And here we go. I'll double tap this, and we shall do a couple of questions. And at the end of this demo, I will tell you how to contact me and how to contact Magnificent Marty Schultz, the head developer of this app. So here we go.
To go back to the main menu, swipe up with 3 fingers.
Okay, so I guess I have to wait till it loads. So I guess I do a one-finger swipe right at this point and see what happens. It's loading.
Current
Windows
game
doesn't say
scores.
nothing.
Button.
Here we go.
Starting practice game 1 player. It's your turn. Pick a square, then tap twice.
So now you hear the background music. Yep, you got it. It's the Jeopardy theme. So yeah. So now I'm going to swipe right.
You are at the square. Asian history, $10.
So let's see what we got.
You are at the square. The Civil War, $10. You are at the square. State borders, $10. You are at the square. Survival skills. You are at the square. Plants and trees. You are at the square. Survival skills, $10.
Survival skills.
You are at the square. State border. You are at the square. The Civil War. You are at the square. Asian history. You are at the square. The Old Testament, $10.
I think I'll do the Old Testament for this demonstration. Yeah, I'll do a couple questions from there just to see how I do.
For $10, the clue is, let's all flock to read Psalm 95, in which humans are compared to these animals.
And so if I want to hear the clue again, I do a two-finger swipe down.
The clue is, let's all flock to read Psalm 95, in which humans are compared to these animals.
So now for my answers, I do a swipe up and I swipe up and down with one
Rainbow.
finger.
Isaiah. Goliath. She.
Now I know the answer
Joseph.
is,
She.
so I double tap this.
Correct. You won $10. Your balance is $10. It's your turn. Pick a square, then tap twice. You are at the square. The Old Testament, $20.
So now I'm going to go survival skills $10 and see how I do with that one just for kicks. So to get to survival skills, I swipe over with one finger
You
to
are
the
at the
right.
square. You are at the square. The Civil War. You are at the square. State border. You are at the square. Survival skills, $10.
And then I double tap this to get the $10 answer here.
For $10, the clue is, if you must move a victim with a broken bone, apply one of these to prevent the broken bone from moving.
And then the choices are
Tourniquet. Arteries. Hyperventilating. Constrictor. Splint. Jellyfish. Circulation. Heat stroke.
I can't help but laugh at some of these answers. But from what I remember and from what I've heard, the correct answer
Circulation.
would be obviously
Jellyfish.
this one.
Splint.
Splint.
Correct. You won $10. Your balance is $20. It's your turn. Pick a square,
So
then
now-
tap twice. You are at the square. Survival skills, $20.
So now that I'm through with this demo, I'm just going to do a three-finger swipe to go back to the main menu.
Practice game 1 player.
I'd like to thank you for listening to this brief demonstration on Blindfold Trivia Match. If you have any questions on how the game works or have any other ideas, to do this you may email marty@blindfoldgames.org. That's marty@blindfoldgames.org. You may follow Marty Schultz via his Twitter account at Blindfold Games, at @BlindfoldGames. And he's got a website, which is http://www.blindfoldgames.org, which you may examine at your own convenience as well. If you wish to contact me to leave me feedback on this podcast, you may do so via email with josephweekland@att.net, or you can add me on Roger. I go by Harmonica Player in lowercase. And I also go by, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you may do so with JOEWEAKLAND1027. If you follow me on Roger, please indicate that you heard about this through the podcast that I'll be uploaded to my YouTube channel and to Twitter, etc. So, until next time, thanks for listening, and stay warm. Bye-bye.
Shutdown confirmation. Top. Yes.